Do I think that the Last of Us franchise has a chance at a comeback? Yes, I am always hopeful. I do think the third game will be the final one and biggest one. They can definitely fix quite a few things. For example, perhaps the virus that's in Ellie allows her to grow back her fingers. So maybe in the next game she might have her fingers back and be able to play the guitar once again. Tommy might get rehabilitation and be able to walk again. However, he probably won't be able to see out of that one eye again. He will probably work things out with Maria and maybe have a son of his own. Regarding Dina, I honestly hope that she moves on from Ellie, as I thought their relationship just never felt natural and realistic from the very beginning. Like, they had no real chemistry going on, and I would rather Ellie find someone else, honestly. Also, I feel like her character was completely unimportant to the story overall, if I'm being honest. Like, the sole purpose they made her an actual character was for Ellie to simply have a love interest, and that was really it. She felt so meaningless and boring to the story, and as I as a player didn't really care much about Dina's character. Like, her character would not affect the story in any way if she died or lived. Also, I always found it weird how Dina and Jesse had a whole relationship going on, including doing the deed, and in less than a week later after breaking up, she switches to liking girls, then ends up falling madly in love with Ellie. What? I mean, honestly, that's not normal, is it? I guess if she was always a lesbian while being with Jesse and only recently came into terms with it, while developing feelings for Ellie, then I suppose that makes sense. But still, that sudden switch and the pace it developed in was so weird. Anyway, perhaps Ellie works things out with her ex-Cat, who gave her the tattoo, as she was mentioned in the game. Or maybe, Ellie finds someone entirely new that's just like her. Someone that's alone and scared of being alone, and her and Dina just remain friends. As with Abby, honestly, I know they would never go the route of Ellie killing her, as they put too much effort into making her an actual character in part 2, and after all the chances Ellie had to kill her, it would simply be like they wasted the entire time for nothing. Honestly, even though the entire game's story was just one big mess, I would have at least thought it was alright if we finally at the end got to kill Abby and get revenge. It would have felt like there was an actual point in making the game and playing the game, instead of making it to simply kill off a main character and introduce a new main character that kills him, who has now taken his place in the story. Especially when they spent 7 years to make the entire plot of the game based on getting revenge, and to finally at the end have that revenge taken away from us. I mean, seriously, after all of the times that Ellie wanted to kill her, and then when she finally gets the chance to do so, she decides last minute not to, simply because she thought of Joel? That was so stupid. Like, seriously, wouldn't that have made the revenge more satisfying for Ellie and for the players? After everything we've been through and how far we've come, the sole purpose of the game, the very driving point of Ellie's emotions and motivation to find Abby and kill her, to get revenge, they decided last second that she no longer wants to? That part honestly had me done with the game. Like, I questioned what was the whole point of that? Making an entire game just so you can kill off the main character and introduce a new main character, only for everyone to hate, and at the end we don't even get revenge? As I stated before, this just feels like they wanted to shift the entire course of the story in exchange to completely dismiss Joel's arc and story as a character, like it all meant nothing, and for it to no longer be about Joel and Ellie. Completely changing the whole outline of the story so they can now have 2 strong female leads as the new main characters, and for their story to become the future of the franchise. Anyway, if Abby were to actually die, I believe it would come from the hands of Tommy, as he is still seeking revenge for his dead brother. And I think Tommy might end up sacrificing his life for Ellie. Who knows, maybe Lev might be the one to get it done. The thing with Abby is that they try to make her out to be a hero and a good character, as well as a main character at the same time. They wanted us to understand her perspective and relate to her feelings. This was not a good decision. They should have simply made her the new villain. If they had done this, then there would have been no major issues with the story and backlash from the fans. This is either what they're trying to do from the very beginning, like they had it all planned out, sort of an origin story for Abby, who eventually becomes the villain, which I highly doubt, or this is the direction they will end up taking in the third game, as this is the only way I can see them being able to save the franchise and redeem themselves. Abby has to turn into the villain in the next game, or rather an anti-hero, and Tommy has to finally get revenge for Joel. One thing for sure is, I don't want to see them explore Abby's story anymore, and especially make us play as Abby or Lev in the next game. What I think they're going for is that they'll maybe do something like where Abby and Ellie make peace, but Tommy and Lev are unaware of it, and it sort of spills out between them. This might cause some tension between the two groups, and the same collateral damage will take place. Perhaps someone gets killed by accident in the process of getting Ellie to the right facilities to make the cure, and things will take a turn for the worse. Lastly, with Ellie, I think she ends up surviving, and they manage to make the vaccine while keeping her alive. She'll think back at how Joel saved her, and it all wasn't for nothing, as there was always a way to save humanity with her being alive, and she never had to sacrifice her life. Or maybe Joel's lie actually does come true, that there are dozens out there just like Ellie to make a cure. I think in the next game they should just focus on the remaining few characters we have. If we can simply just play as Ellie and Tommy in the next game, I think that will be the best decision they make. As well as leaving out any woke ideologies they have in mind. If we have to witness any Black Lives Matter movement, Two in the Stunning, One in the Brave feminism, or pronouns being a thing in the post-apocalyptic world for the next game, well then, The Last of Us 1 will simply be known as The Last of Us to me, as that's the only game that will be canon for me. Just like Star Wars, the sequel trilogy simply doesn't exist for me. They'll never be part of the franchise for me if that's the kind of treatment they're gonna get. If that's what matters most to the writers and developers, and that's all they're focusing on, simply casting aside the story and characters and treating them like it's the second priority instead of what should always come first, then that'll be it for me. The Last of Us will be a standalone video game, and I'll simply have to accept that.